Last week I did a video in which I shared my Roth IRA from 2004 through 2024 and showed that it's currently had a value of over $4.2 million. And in the comments, someone said, why make it so complicated? Because I picked 4 stocks back in 2004 and continued to contribute my 1,500 for 20 years. And why not just put it in an index fund like the S&P 500 or the QQQs? And I thought that was a fair question and deserved a fair answer. So what I did was go do the same kind of analysis and say, okay, what if rather than invest in Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Apple, what if I had just invested in the Dow, the S&P 500, or the QQQs, and what would the difference have been so that it helps us make a better investment decision? So that's what I want to go do in this video, is show you what the difference is in making good investment decisions or just kind of leaving it up to the market to do what it might do. Then what I want to do is say, okay, what if I applied the same kind of knowledge that I did in 2024 by assessing the market and the future of the market and the growth opportunities that are in front of the companies today? What if I made a decision and then expanded that to 7 stocks, and now that I can put $7,000 into my Roth IRA every year, what if I put $1,000 into each one of those and then projected it out to 2044, another 20 years? Okay, that would bring me personally up to 100 years of age, and I'm confident I can make that. So let's go to the computer and do that work, and then we'll have some fun, and we'll say, okay, what if we just extended that Roth IRA that we have today? So the next 20 years, what's it going to be worth over a 40-year span of time if we did some selective investment rather than in index funds? What if we were proactive in our investments in a Roth IRA for 40 years, knowing what we know from the past and what we think is going to happen in the future? Let's take a deep dive into this, because I think this will give you some insight why it's important to do your research, to understand what's happening, and then put yourself in the hands of companies who have recognized the growth opportunities that are in front of them and then position themselves to take advantage rather than just kind of play the lazy game of the Dow, the S&P, and the QQQs. Let's dig deep into this. Okay, here's what I've got. This is my 2004 through 2024 Roth IRA. And what I did was set it up so that in 04, I started making my $1,500 contribution each year to Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and so that totaled the $6,000 that I was allotted. So then what I've done is I've shown you the performance of each of the stocks over that 20-year period and how the contributions have grown. And it has a current value as of Friday of $4,204,935 with a average rate of return as a whole of 31%. And you can see that Apple strongly outperformed Microsoft, was a little ahead of Amazon, and doubled that of Google. But I was diversified. I mean, the reality is I'd have done a lot better if all I did was invest in Apple. But I didn't know in 04 that Apple was going to give me a 48.9% return. So I diversified over what I thought the growth opportunity was in the digital revolution. So with the question then was asked was, what if, rather than go through all that rigmarole, Kerry, of research and projections, what if you just bought an index fund? Well, okay, I looked at the Dow, and here is the annual returns of the Dow, and it says that if I had put my $6,000 a year into the Dow since 04 through 24, I'd have $362,000 $19.07. To give you a comparison, my Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google portfolio outperformed the Dow by 11.6x. Okay. All right. Well, let's be some more aggressive, and let's look at the S&P. Again, doing the same analogy, looking at the same annual performance, they got an average of 9.6, above the Dow 6.3, but still only producing, I say, 425,000. $205.78. Still, our tech portfolio, if you want to call it that, outperformed 9.89x. Okay? Then, let's be real aggressive and say, let's just dump it into the QQQs, the NASDAQ market, and so let's see what happened. Again, this is their annual performance. Again, we're putting $6,000 a year in, and we end up with $648,873.67. Again, our tech portfolio, who took advantage of the growth opportunity that is wrapped around the digital revolution, outperformed at 6.5x. All right? So that's to answer the question, why not just put it into an index? Because you don't make near as much money. That's why. Now, you have to do some research, then you have to put some thought into it, and you have to recognize that what's the growth opportunity that maybe I can take advantage of. So let's take that thought and bring it up to date and say, okay, take this and say that same thought, and let's look at what would happen if we invested in a growth portfolio that is more wrapped around now the AI revolution. And let's keep our Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, but let's add some Meta, Tesla, and NVIDIA to it. Because these are the companies that I think are going to deliver AI to you and I in a format that is going to change our lives. And since they're, and some of you might say, well, yeah, but Palantir is going to do well. Yeah, but Palantir is not going to provide me and you with the software to make our lives better. And there's just a lot more of us than there are of businesses that are going to respond to Palantir or Salesforce or Now or any of those software companies. No, I want to deal with and I want to invest in the companies that are going to change my life and your life, because there's just so many more of us. Okay? And think of it this way. Back in '04, how many people in the world had access to the internet? I would say in '04, it might have been 5%, 10%. Well, today it's 78%. That's the same thing that's going to happen with AI. So that's why I want to invest in them. And so this is the portfolio then that I'm going to invest in my Roth IRA and continue my Roth IRA from 2024 through 2044. Okay? So I will enter each year my numbers and I'll track it. Now I got to thinking, well, what I'm really going to do is add this to my existing Roth portfolio. So what I said was, okay, let's extend the numbers and make some assumptions. Let's say that Apple duplicates, and you got to say something. It duplicates its numbers from 2005 through 2024, and so I just took these percentages that they produced here, and I plugged them in to the future. And again, this is just for fun. What would my Apple investment be worth in 2044? Well, it's going to be worth a meager $590 million. Okay? So then I said, okay, let's play a little more further. Let's have some more fun. My Microsoft element of my portfolio. And again, here I'm not adding 1,500. I'm only adding 1,000 because I've got 7. All right, that's going to be worth $4 million. My Amazon's going to be worth 188. Call it 189 million, and my Google's going to come in kind of sloppy at 5 million. So just among these 4, I'll have $789 million. All right. And I'm not counting because I don't know. I don't have the history, at least available to me right now, for Meta, Tesla, and Nvidia to guess what their returns might be. But that will be on top of this. So will my Roth IRA be worth more than $1 billion? Yeah, it may be worth 2 billion. I don't know, but the reality is this is possible. This is not a dream. This is me taking math and taking history and projecting it into the future where I believe we are going. We are going into look back and say how has the digital revolution changed our world? Now, how is the AI revolution? And you got to remember in here we've got some robotics, we've got some huge data centers, but these are the people who are going to bring AI and then eventually quantum computing and changes in our healthcare. I did a video yesterday or Friday, I guess it was, where I showed you a interview with Jim Cramer and Tim Cook. And Tim Cook was asked, what is Apple going to be remembered for in 2035? And Tim openly said, it's going to be remembered for medical. Now, what I know is that somewhere in here, say 2035, I may want to change some of these companies. I may want to put something in there that's different. But because I'm paying attention to what's happening on a day-to-day basis, and I'm recognizing the growth opportunities that these companies are facing and reacting and dealing with. And let me explain to you that just really good. The growth opportunity of the future is AI. Can we all agree on that? Okay, artificial intelligence, then machine learning, then quantum computing. Well, who just spent $1 trillion over the last year and a half buying Jensen Huang's GPUs and booking orders for all that he can make in the near future? Who did that? It was Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Meta. Why? Why are they spending that money? It's a growth opportunity. And in any business, you want to see who is going to grow in the future. You just go look at their books and you look and you see who's spending money to grow in the future. Go back and look at NVIDIA's books for 2022, I believe it was. You're going to see that they took on tremendous amount of debt in 2022 and they increased their workforce by 50%. Look at their books. Then you're going to see I guess it was 2020, because in the next 2 years, that stock exploded. Why? Because they recognize the growth opportunity of GPUs. Now, they were just playing with the gamers, okay? But they recognized that Sam Altman was going to bring forward something called ChatGPT, which was all wrapped around artificial intelligence. And they needed the compute power to make that work in the data centers. And Jensen recognized it, and he took action on it in 2020. And if you had been watching his books, you would have bought NVIDIA before it went up 500, 700, 1,000%. You just had to pay attention. You had to connect the dots. Well, the dots are screaming at us now, and that's where they are. Okay? This is fun. This is what making money should be all about. A lot of fun. Okay? I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. I'm involved in where am I getting all this stuff? I'm involved in a course provided by Goldman Sachs called 10,000 Small Businesses. They've built a cohort of 26 small businesses here in Birmingham or here in Alabama, and they're challenging us to take advantage of our growth opportunities. That's what I'm doing, but I'm then saying, who else has growth opportunities? Could it be Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, Tesla, and NVIDIA? And who will it be next year and the year after that? If I just pay attention, I can become, you see it, it's right there. I only have to do 2 things. Keep investing $1,000 a month into my stocks and live to 100, and I'll be a billionaire. Okay? It's that simple. I'll talk to you more this week. I've got a very busy week ahead of me. Some tremendous growth opportunities are in front of me. And I want you to look at your growth opportunity. Think about it this week, and then come join me at the Stock Talk. Come to our website. We have 3 platforms that you can get on to become a part of this movement. Kerry Grinkmeyer, retired financial advisor, here to help you become a billionaire.